Okay.
Wow, world of water. We love to give pure water to everybody that wants it, where they can have pure water for the rest of their life. It's available for all of us in the U.S. And if you've listened to any of our podcasts previously, we actually do things to help those in the U.S. that would like to have pure water for life. In an emergency of 5 to 7 days, if you didn't have electricity, what would you do? What would your friends, your family do? What would your church, your synagogue, your homeless shelter do? How would they take care of the need that everybody has is water, but wouldn't you want it to be pure? In fact, in some instances, it may not even be available as it should be, but with safer, cleaner water, we're able to help you from now on to have pure water for life. You and anyone you know to be able to have pure water for life. Would you like that? It's enough not only for them, the one that has a safer, cleaner water filtration system, but up to 300 others in an emergency. I'll give you an example of one of the persons that purchased one of our systems. Whenever he purchased it, as we were sitting there talking to him, he just paused and he looked out the window for a second. And he said, I live in a subdivision. If something happened to the water supply and the electric was gone, I would be able to help my whole subdivision with this one filter. And he was right. That's the same thing that you can do, or anybody that hears about it, you can share it with others as well. We also want to serve those who need it the most. So one of the things we do with our 501c3 nonprofit entity is we actually help those that we feel like in the U.S. are the most needy, and that would be the ones that are in homeless shelters. I talked to a lady that served homeless shelters for years, helping get food for them and different things. And as I shared with her the ability that we have to actually supply a water filtration system that would help up to 300 people in an emergency and donate it to the homeless shelter, she just looked. She said, "I've never heard anybody in all my years working with homeless shelters recognize the need of them having water to pure water for pure water as well." So she was really excited about that. We already knew this, of course, but in the last few weeks, we have had new contacts each reach out to us. For example, we've talked about just being in the U.S. and available in the U.S., but I realized as I began to have some people to reach out to us, actually from 10 different countries around the world, just in the last few weeks, they didn't even know about the simple solution of how to get pure water to the most needy that they can, even in remote areas where the only access they have to water is dirty water from a lake, a river, a creek, or other similar sources. Or sometimes it's very difficult for them to get any water. But when they can, we have a way for them to have pure water. And as they realize that, did you know the number one reason children die in foreign countries is because of impure water? In fact, in some countries, they don't even name their child for a while to see if they will live. We have the answer to that. We actually have a missionary that we know about that was working to help Central America. And one of the things that they did is they had a system, gravity flow system like what we have, and they would go into that city in that little village, and they would actually help them to have a water filtration system that could be used to take care of the needs of them and their family and the children. And after a, a little very short period of time, they even though it's the number one reason children die is because of bad water, when they have pure water, that changes everything for them and also for the families that they have as well, that they live in. Then, as we began to really research this more and not just research it, but have people coming to us saying, I need help about this, I didn't know that there was such a thing as a water filtration system that literally can have a lifetime guarantee from the manufacturer, can actually never have to have another filter because the way it's designed, it can be backwash and use it over and over again for life. And then for something that could help up to 300 people every day, with 150 gallons of water that it could produce in a day period of time. So that was the thing that was beginning to get attention to others. So we decided we don't only want to do the things in the US, but this is a worldwide project that is able to help millions of people over the course of time just to know about this and be able to do something about it. We have one person, for example, that's walking across Africa to promote the need for pure water for Africa. And one of the things he's doing is he's helping them dig wells whenever there's a place where they have a place where he can show them how to dig a well. And that's great. But the other thing that we realized, that's great. But whenever you have a well in a certain area, anybody 15 kilometers away are not going to be able to get to it. So they need what we have because of not having access to it, even if it was in a village, for example. But the other thing that we found, that's not only the case, but just because you dig a well or you dig a borehole or do the things that you're trying to do in large amounts or to try to take care of things, that doesn't mean that the water that comes out is pure. And in fact, in what we're finding in almost every instance, the water that comes out of the wells or the boreholes, etc., is not pure. So they still need our simple solution as well to have a filtration system that takes that water and instead of them having to drink it or boiling a little bit, they never have to do that anymore because this takes out the bacteria and the viruses and 100% of the microplastics where you literally can have the ability to always have pure water no matter what the situation. Again, many people think about the large high cost projects that'll take a lot of money and quite a long time to create the project. But we was talking to someone last week that has contacts in a number of nations in Africa. And as I shared with him, he had done some of the things necessary to create a larger project like a borehole, etc. But as he listened to it, in a few minutes, he just stopped and he looked and he said, this is too simple. Everybody needs this. Everybody can use this. So what we realized is while if somebody wants to do something in a large scale like that, that's awesome, but they're still going to need to have that water purified as well, typically. And with this, until they get that done and raise the money for that and spend all the time getting it ready and then having to maintain it, they could actually serve everybody in that area for a very minimal dollar cost compared to what they're working on. So now everybody, not just in that area, but again, because this will work in any area, even though it's not a village, just the most remote place that you can imagine, there's the ability for them to have this system that can give them and their families pure water. There's a lot of people talk about water, but there seems to be a lot of people that just talk about it, or they have something in mind that's delayed because of the design of what they're doing. I may have mentioned this before, but there's a group that's trying to raise $40 million, and they say what they want to do is to raise $40 million to help 2 million people. That's awesome. That's great. But with what we have, every single filtration system, it will actually help up to 300 people to have pure water every day for life, not just in an emergency. So that would mean instead of having to have $40 million to help 2 million people, what if there was $1 million that will help up to 3 million people, or 40 million up to 120 million, which would be better? But what if we just lay all of that aside and say, in the foreign countries, for every $60, we can provide a water filtration system and ship it to any place in the world where people can have pure water, even if they're in the most remote area or whatever the situation is. As we realized that, one of the persons that has the mission to try to help with the water and has the vision for it, he said, I can envision setting up 1,000 distribution centers across Africa and have that to where we raise funds to be able to donate a large multi-million systems to all of those distribution centers, and they are able to serve that area that they're in. And now we could actually have millions of people to have pure water that they've never been able to have it before. and to have it for life. Is that exciting? It's hard for me sometimes to sleep to think about it. It's just so, everybody has a mission, and this is the mission that we've been privileged with, to try to help as many people as we can to be able to have pure water for the rest of their life. So here's what some have done. This is another way to look at it in a little simpler way, even. There's some places where they've said, okay, they would go into a village, for example, and say, we're going to give, and say that the lady's name was Mary that had a family. Mary, we're going to give you a water filtration system that can actually take care of you and give you pure water for the rest of your life. But there's one thing that we ask of you. We want you to ask two other families, share this with two other families. So now, not only is Mary and her family taken care of, but there's two more. And then as funds become available from the donations that come in to help those causes, they actually go to those two, each of those two others that Mary is serving, and say, we're going to do the same thing for you, and you can actually find two that you can serve as well. And over the course of a period of time, there are actually millions of people helped just by one helping another and serving another and serving another. And that's a great idea and a great way to do it. There's many other ways that can be designed exactly to the way you want to do something to help people. And again, in the foreign countries, every $60 that's donated can help three families in that regard, or up to 300 in an emergency as well. So that's what we are doing, and that's what we want to do, and that's what we wanted to share with you today. So wouldn't it be nice if everybody in the world had fresh water, pure water, no matter where they are, and have a filtration system that would take everything out that would make them sick? That's what we're doing, and that's why we appreciate you being able to listen and hopefully share it with others. And our nonprofit entity, the information is in the area of the site that we're on and the video that's being created. So just be there and go there, and go to uagrant.com is where you can donate. In the US, every $100 you donate will go to help a family or someone that you designate. For example, if you say, I like 10 people that I know, plus my church, plus my homeless shelter, whatever, I would like to donate $100 for each of those. All you have to do is make the donation and tell us where, then you tell us where you want them shipped to each of those. We take care of everything else for you. And then you also get a tax benefit beside the one that you would purchase for yourself. All of those others you would get a tax benefit for, not the one you purchase for yourself, but all the others. So that actually makes a difference. And then back again to the nonprofit, with the $60 donation, each of those would help at least three families, or the 300 in the time of what we described in an emergency. So with that concept of the three getting involved, one person helping two others, that would mean for a one-time donation of $20 per family, each of those families would have pure water for the rest of their life and be able to share it with up to 300 others in an emergency. How many times would you like to do that? All you have to do is make the decision that you want to help someone, leave a legacy, change a life. That's what we do. Thank you. And wow, World of Water, we appreciate you watching, and we look forward to hearing from you very soon.